What other vegetables can you grow? Can you grow kale and broccoli?
We grew kale very well. Broccoli, I haven't had success with broccoli, but I think that's mostly my fault than the aquaponics system. Broccoli in the floating system, I haven't had any luck really with, but in these, I've heard people having a lot better luck with these, the gravel system. And the gravel system, what's great about, the other thing I want to talk about the gravel system, is the gravel also acts as a huge filter, whereas the floating system with the floating foam, if you don't have bugs in there like crawdads and things like that to eat the leftover decaying debris that's floating around in the trays, you're going to get a buildup and have to clean it out, or you have to build a filter. So it's kind of a redundant thing, you know, that you have to have a filter, then you got these big boxes and everything to do that. So that's why I encourage people that are going to do for like a family of 4 or something like that. I don't really advise it too much unless somebody is really into it and really wants to be part of it. You know, if it's a small family, busy schedule, these gravel things are the best. There's no weeding, there's no watering, there's no fertilizing.
How often does it flood?
The big tray here, it floods and empties about once every hour. The smaller one, it's however you want, depending on what you're growing. And you can put different size bell towers in there, bell siphon towers in there. So if you need to flood it a little bit more during when you're just seeding, trying to get it propagated, you can flood a little bit more and then put a shorter vacuum valve in there once it gets started, so that the roots aren't getting saturated all the way through all the time. And the smaller system, you can about every 15 minutes, so about every 20, 22 minutes, you're recirculating the water, pushing it through. And like I said, it's kind of one of those deals where how much sun do you have, how warm is it, what are you growing, and you can, a lot of these pumps, you can dial them down, dial them up, you know, for flow. And if that's enough, you can put a choke valve on them to slow them down or speed them up. But it's a very small pump, like the pump that's in these systems, you can buy them at most aquarium shops right here. And they're about anywhere from 25 to 40 bucks a piece. So it's a very cheap way to do things with the IBC container. I think if somebody builds it themselves with the container bought, they're going to spend less than $200 on it. It's a little bit more work, and you got to clean it and everything. And they'd probably retail for quite a bit more than that if you had somebody else put the kit together. But I've had enough people interested in it that we've been actually talking about doing a workshop and having several of these containers out. And if somebody wants to build one, we can figure out some type of a classroom fee and then the purchase of the materials.
Is it too smelly to have in your house?
No. If it's smelly, you're not taking care of it. Is pretty much the idea. I guess you can kind of look at these things as they're digesters. They're digesting all the organic food that is being thrown at them. So if there's too many fish and your ammonia level is too much, yeah, it's going to start stinking. Fish are going to start dying. Your plants are going to start burning. So it's time to pull some fish out and eat them. So it's one of those deals where you're gonna have to monitor the water and monitor your fish and just watch things. It's not one of those deals you can just walk away from, but it's as close as you can get to that without. I don't know how many of you grow in a garden before and how much work it takes. I still grow on the ground too. I've got a potato patch and I've got carrots and beets and all that. And every year I do it, I wonder why I'm doing it, because you're killing yourself out there, and you're wondering, is there a better way? And I believe this is. Potatoes haven't had any success yet, but I know there's a way. When you start growing potatoes with this type of method, then we start talking about a different growing method, which is permaculture, using fish water, bracken water that you've collected to feed your landscape plants, your garden plants and everything. So that's a whole other subject that we'll break into. And that's what I do. I feed all my excess aquaponics water and any of my clarifier water that collects all the waste and any hard particles or anything like that. I feed to my vegetables in the ground, and so I haven't put any chemical fertilizer or anything on my outside garden for 2 years, and it's done better in the last 2 years than it's ever done. Instead of putting peats or whatever type of garden stuff you use, Happy Frog or anything. The neat thing about the gravel systems too, is you can add worms, red worms, to it. And the red worms will help break down everything. They will add nutrients for your plants, and they also can add a food source for your fish because they kind of get involved in the whole system. They get everywhere, and the excess ones will they'll go down the drain, and there you go. You got a food source for your fish. So it's kind of a, if you get it healthy enough, it will take care of itself, but it does take some management. You know, it's not rocket science. It really isn't. Once you get over the hump of, okay, hey, this isn't that difficult. This is just vegetables growing in a different type of media using fish waste.
Mark, how deep are your, is the gravel?
About 8 to 10 inches.
8 to 10 inches?
You can do it in about 6, but I've read a lot better reports with 8 to 10. And I've seen, I mean, I picked a 5/8 gravel because I've worked with this type of gravel a lot. I'm a landscape contractor, so I know a lot of different types of gravels and different pits where to get this type of thing. And I was going to go with a smaller gravel, but I thought, well, that's going to clog up filters, and so I went with more of a kind of an angular smooth stone. And it's got a lot of surface area that the bacteria can grow on. Now, if I had a ton of money, I probably would have used clay pellets because they are a little bit better for growing bacteria on. They're more porous, kind of like a volcanic rock, basically. Like you can buy those bags of volcanic rock anywhere. They work pretty good, except for they're not real nice on the fingers when you're digging around in there.
And you're talking about the gravel, so you're getting the wash gravel from the pit, not
Yes.
because they like to put in the binder.
Right. So you get the clean, the clean gravel, and it's still not clean. I take it and we put it in a bobcat bucket and we spray it and spray it and screen it and spray it, and then we dump it in, and it takes a while to flush all that stuff out. But even if you buy the higher ton, the clay pellets, grow media, you got to wash it too. So it takes a day or so when everything settles down. You get a little bit of that no matter what. You can grow it. I've seen some stuff on YouTube and read there's plastic pellets that you can use in this grow media. There's little plastic spheres that are grow media. There's like little plastic toy looking stars that will sink and you can grow on that type of media, but it's pretty expensive. And when I was looking at this, I was trying to think about what is the cheapest, what is the best way that everybody can do this and be successful and not be like, I got this smelly dead fish thing in my backyard, what do I do with it, type of a thing. So when I was looking at all my research, I was trying to figure out what is the easiest. And unfortunately, I kind of went about it backwards, and I built the hardest system first when I did it, because I didn't have enough information at the time, and I had the winter off, and I wanted to do something like this. So, and now, but after a few years and learning different things and building different systems and helping other people and talking, I really like the gravel system for a small family system. Now, I do have a family. They've got 6 people, mom and dad, and then the grandparents are going to be living with them. So this can be quite a large system, and they're all very involved. Pretty sure we'll do like a 3/4 floating system and a part gravel system for them. Kind of deciding what to do.
And how big a system will that be? I mean, like 10 feet by
basically, that'll be 4 trays, 4 by 16. And that can pretty much handle them. They really should have maybe 5, so they can have an empty bed to work on and flip. But
right.
We'll see. They can always add one.
And how many fish will that support?
Oh boy, I think it was like 250
Wow.
fish. It'll be in about, well, then we'll grow different fish too. We'll have several different tanks. Because everybody in the family is like, well, we don't want just tilapia, Frank wants catfish,
Okay, yeah.
Susie likes
Yeah.
perch. So it'll probably be quite a large system, and they've got the money, and they're going to go pretty fancy, I think, I'll see. So, I mean, you could spend $200 on a system, or you could spend $50,000, it's depending